Hey everybody, it's a Friday night edition. It's the late hours. It's a variety show, so we appreciate you for coming. If you have questions, just throw them in the chat, and we're gonna go from there. So I have John. I know you guys recognize John. He's a great guy, great friend of the show, and a really big 49er fan. So it's my pleasure to have John on once again. John, how are you doing this evening?
Doing great. Been busy since Monday. Both my kids had their tonsils taken out.
Oh boy,
Double the trouble.
how do you do that? I mean, I guess maybe it's easier to have them both, but um, oh boy, what
Yeah.
happened? They both needed them to come out.
My oldest had a very serious large tonsils, and my little one had definitely large tonsils too, but not as bad as my 14-year-old because his tonsils were touching.
Oh boy, I've never had that ever happen. Have you had your tonsils removed before?
Yes, I have.
Is it true that you can eat all the ice cream you want, but you can't really eat any ice cream because your throat's too sore?
Trust me, you can eat a bunch of ice cream.
Uh,
Ice cream
So,
popsicles, juice, everything.
so do you have like a favorite? Do they have a favorite ice cream?
My youngest loves his chocolate ice cream,
All right.
and my oldest has ta- so basically my third oldest has no favorite ice cream. He eats what he gets.
Awesome. So what's your favorite ice cream?
Vanilla, strawberry, um, just different brands.
Anything? Anything? All right. So for me, like, okay, guys, the reason we started talking about this, thank you all for coming. John here, his boys both had their tonsils taken out. So, I was like, can you eat ice cream? And because that's what I was always said is, told is if you get your tonsils taken out, can you eat ice cream? And John's, so then we started talking about what your favorite ice cream is. I like any kind of ice cream, really. There's one or two out there that I don't really care for, but I'm a big peanut butter kind of guy. I like anything with caramel in it. So I'm pretty much like a Moose Tracks guy. A chunky chocolate chip kind of guy. I like cookie dough. Brian, you're here. We'll go to you, then David, and then to the next David. David Corona, then David McNiner. What's your favorite ice cream?
Tillamook's Marion Berry Pie.
Oh my God. So that's the one that I don't like. Not Tillamook itself, but they got great cheese. They got some pretty cool ice cream too. But it's that my family down the street, I live 4 houses from my parents, and they had a birthday a couple of weeks ago, well, a couple of months ago, and they had that, and I didn't like it. I just didn't like
Oh
it.
my,
But
the crust is so amazing in that. Now, look, you want another good hitter? Hey, the Tillamook, uh, is it grandma's birthday cake? Oh, that shit smacks. It's got sprinkles in there and everything. It tastes like the cake and the frosting all together. Oh, it's good. But yeah, anything by Tillamook, they got really good. They use really good cream, which it totally makes ice cream is when the better cream you use, the better your ice cream's gonna be. Shout out to
so
Tillamook.
Tillamook, if you guys have ever seen it, they made a bus, a Volkswagen bus, a miniature, and they've made, I want to say, three or four of them or five of them, but they have mini buses, Volkswagen buses. They cut in half, and they park them in front of grocery stores and stuff. So every time I see one, I get a picture with it because I'm a big Volkswagen guy. So you know, um, really cool.
I'm a
Hey,
I'm a big 2 pound baby loaf cheddar kind of
shout out
guy.
real quick. This is my cousin. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate you.
Welcome,
Um,
Marshall.
Toasted
What's up,
almond.
man?
That's a definitely that's a good flavor. Okay, so David Corona, what's your favorite ice cream?
How many choices I got?
You can give us a couple. What's your top 3 or 4? Don't do Baskin Robbins on us.
Yeah, right.
Uh, uh, I like Rocky Road, butter pecan, and
You like Spamonti, don't you?
probably Butterfinger ice cream.
All right, David Corona. That was great, Mr. McNiner. What's your choices?
Well, there's an actual local company called Fars, and you can't beat their rainbow sherbet. You just can't.
That's not ice
And
cream.
hey,
They sell it next
And
to each
then-
other. It counts. I mean, you got to go to a different section of the store to get yogurt. So
well, they also have a chocolate banana that is absolutely killer.
You missed
So-
me at banana.
Mr. Corey Davis, what's your favorite ice cream?
My favorite ice cream is coffee.
Coffee.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, there's just a lot of good flavors out there.
That
Just really.
ugh.
Okay, so Randy probably has the most interesting one here. Olive loaf ice cream. Wow.
He's lying. He's lying. He just said that right up there. He just said that. Oh no, that was. Whereas he said cookies cream has no equal or something like that. I swear he said that.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, yeah.
like Debo.
Randy, don't you mess with me, Randy.
All right, so you got another.
Steve-O likes cookies and cream.
Yeah. Marshall,
Yeah,
he's
see,
throwing another good one out there. Salt and straw does some pretty crazy combos. Wow. Hey, so Marshall, he is a chef, I believe, and
is
he
he a
has his
Tucker
own
band?
restaurant. No, this is the one that
Marshall
is the
Tucker
musician.
band.
Funny, but he is a musician, and he did have a band at one time. He's a Bay Area guy. I think he's a Raider fan, if I'm correct, if he still is. But glad
Jesus
you're here, man.
Christ.
So this is somebody that was my dad's cousin, and I'm like a younger cousin.
Sorry, I'm
here he is.
joking.
Here he is. I had a brie and fig ice cream. Yes. So okay, let's get into a little bit of football. Yes, he is a Raider
wait.
fan.
Can we actually say that he didn't really have a brie and fig ice cream? It was probably a gelato.
Hey, Marshall's pretty clever when it comes to cooking, and he's always doing really. He takes pictures of food, and he's got some really fancy dishes that he makes.
Before
So,
we start, Cass, who died in the middle of between you and David Medina?
John, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is John LaJoy. I'm from Auburn, Washington.
I'm from Mount Vernon.
Yeah, I know. I remember.
Hey, you need to swap us around. It's just geographically correct. No, he's got to be.
And I've been
He's down by
49er
Vancouver.
I've been a 49er fan since 1985.
Oh hell yeah!
Okay. Nice. My name is Corey Lockdown Davis.
My name is David Corona.
Yep.
He's our official LA Rams fan.
Don't believe him. I'm a 49er fan.
Yep, you're a Niner fan. That's why we like
There
you.
may or may not be a Cowboys jersey in his closet.
Uh-oh. In the closet.
He says that because my wife's a Cowboys fan.
See, and that's the excuse he uses to explain why there's a jersey in his closet.
But
I don't got no Cowboys jersey.
to Davis'
See?
defense, right? You know, like what's he really truly doing, right? He is actually taking one for the team, right? You got to admit he's kind of like pushing his will, or you know, maybe taking away from the Cowboy fandom, right? Because you know he loves on a Cowboy girl long enough, she might become a Niner. So you know, yeah, you know, I like your method. It's a method. It might be madness, David, but you got it. Keep working.
Yeah.
That blue jersey might turn into a white jersey and then maybe just fade away and turn into a red jersey. You never know. I like to tell them stay faithful. Just stay faithful. You'll be all right.
I'm always faithful to the 49ers.
Yep. It's just those Dodgers. I can't get behind you with the Dodgers, but you know, the Niners, the Lakers, you know, you're all right. You know, 2 out of 3, you're okay. So all right. So John, let's start out with you. What's your thoughts on Bosa? When are we signing him? How much are we signing him? Do we have to give our firstborn for him to be signed? I mean, this is getting a little crazy. You know, they said the Niners are offering 31 potentially. He wants 35. Is $4 million too much more? Your thoughts?
Well, one, we will have to see what happens in the next few more days because people have already said that he started on week 1. And the amount that he's getting paid, wow. And crazy, basically, by my standards.
Would you pay him 35? Would you just get it over with?
If I want the leading sack leader, probably. If not, just try to take out a little bit too. Just find like a basically like an equal basically an equal middle.
See, I think it's like a little too late. If we don't decide to pay him, then we're kind of really just punching ourselves in the face in a sense, because if we wanted to trade him, we should have done it before the draft. We should have done it way back in like March, February. We should have been like, this is what we're going to do. We're moving off of him. But no, instead, I kind of feel like we're doing the same thing we did with Trey Lance in a sense, but Trey Lance really didn't have the leverage that Bosa has on us.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Marshall. Appreciate you for coming, and hope to talk to you soon again. Corey, what's your thought on the Bosa signing?
I just wish we could get it over. I don't know who's going to give in. Is the 49ers going to give in and give him, if he's asked for 35 million, give him 35 million? Or is Bosa going to give in and say, I'll take the 31 million? You know? But I'm hoping one of them give in because I want to see Bosa out there. I want him out there the first. It's got me worried. Because I picked the 49ers to beat the Steelers. That's just saying that the Bosa's going to be there. I'm kind of nervous about that now. So, please, Niners, do me a favor. Give in and give him the 35 million.
Mr. Corona, how much do you think we should pay Bosa?
Maybe I just give him that 35. I give him that 35 what he wants. So he's the best defense for our team, and we need him. So yeah, just give him the money like he wants. So that's what I got.
What do you think, Mr. McNiner?
I think they should just pay him the 35 million and get it over with. I mean, why are they dragging this out this far? You know, one game could mean the difference between home field advantage and us having to travel to someone's place, like, you know, that landfill in Philadelphia that they call a stadium. You know.
Ryan went to the store, so it's just one of those things. It's 35 shouldn't be that bad. 34, 30, 35, 31, 32. At the end of the day, it's only a couple, right? There's only so many numbers, right? Give him the 35 million, give him a contract that's like for 3 years, 4 years, or something like that, and give him an option to, buy out his contract at the end, or, have a trade, his final season, or make that final season, we can walk from it or he can walk from it, where we don't have back money, we don't have a bunch of money we're paying him in the end. And especially if he's going to go to another team year 4, we don't want to be paying his contract for him to be playing against us or on another team. I just want to see him happy. I'd like to be happy too. I don't know if he's going to be playing week 1 because it's getting just closer and closer to the date. John, you are our guest, but I'd like you to come on more and more as often as you like. Get comfortable. But what's your thoughts on this Pittsburgh game? How crucial is it to have Bosa? Can we sneak out a win without a kicker and a defensive edge? Defensive player of the year?
Definitely going to be hard. You do have guys to basically take Bosa's position up. It's just going to be probably a nice, good, hard fight.
What do you think, Mr. Corey? What's your thoughts?
What? Can we win?
Yeah, can we win without a kicker? Can we win without Bosa?
It's gonna be tough. Like I said, I picked us to win against Steelers because I think Bosa's gonna be there, and the kicker too. We missing the kicker. It's gonna be hard. Can we trust this kicker? That's new kicker coming, or if it's Moody, can we trust him? We can do it, but it's gonna be hard.
All right, Corona. I know you said we could win, but I want you to tell me how we can win. We do have a kicker coming in. He did play for the Steelers twice, but he played for him twice. So what's wrong with that? Why'd they let him go?
I'm not too sure why they let him go,
Right?
but it's gonna be very hard. But we could still win with the guys we got, but we have to step up and come in faster and get the quarterback and the running back. We need to stop those two. We'd be fine.
But how would we do that without Bosa?
Maybe Jake Jackson or Hargrave, move him on the other side, and then so they could stop the run or come in and get the quarterback more faster. That's what I'm thinking.
I see it.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah.
Mr. McNiner, what's your thoughts? We don't have Bosa potentially. We have a kicker that's been waived by the Steelers twice. So are they trying to tell us something and we're not listening? What's your optimistic, thoughts about going to Pittsburgh?
My optimistic thoughts are we signed Bosa, and I actually picked the Steelers to win, thinking Bosa is going to be missing week 1. When it comes to the kicker, there has to be a reason they let him go twice. They saw something they didn't like. And right now we have 3 kickers, so we have no kicker. That's a big problem, right?
That's just a kick in the pants.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I don't think we can actually win the game without Bosa. Could we stop their? Could our defense play good enough to win against their young quarterback? Possibly, but we're also going in there with a young quarterback against a stout defense. So we need, that impact player to put us over the top, to give us a better chance of winning this game. Without Bosa, there's no way. I don't think we can win.
I got a hard feeling, like really, really hard and bad feeling. If he's not there, that really takes away our chances of winning. I think that Cody Pickett, is it Kenny Pickett or Cody Pickett? But he's going to pick us apart, I think. Ryan, what's your thoughts on the Bosa situation, and why are we taking a kicker that Pittsburgh waived twice? Is he our spy? Oh, this has got to be really good, but it's funny because we can't hear him at all. Brian, we can't hear you, dude.
There we go. So,
No, we still can't hear you.
so what I was saying is that the kicker's not on their payroll as when it comes to the week that we play them. So I don't think he's making calls back to Mike Tomlin, letting him know what's going on. Also, I'm sure he's not getting the full version of the playbook. You know what I'm saying? He's probably getting the special team clip notes. It's not like he has to learn much. He just needs to kick field goals and do kickoffs. So I don't think he's a spy. My issue is Nick Bosa is the linchpin to our defensive line because he's our edge. There's a reason why edge players are valued so much and paid so much is because what they can do on the field and get to the quarterback in a quick amount of time, quicker than normally defensive linemen, makes them a game changer. And he's ours. And if we don't have him, we're screwed. So yeah, I'm not saying that it's going to be horrible with Cleveland Farrell and Drake Jackson, but it's not going to be anything close to what it'll be like if Nick Bosa is out there on a tear.
How impactful is Kinlaw going to be, John?
Well, he's playing behind basically Hardgrave, so he's a backup. He's basically number 2. So if Hargrave needs a break, then Kinlaw will go in as somebody to give Hargrave a break. He'll basically during a certain play. So he might do a better job instead of being a starter.
How was Trey QB3, but Kinlaw is second behind Hardgrave?
I like that, John. Corey, what are your thoughts? Do you think Kinlaw gets any playing time? Do you think he gets any? Well, he gets some playing time, but do you think he gets any pressure on the quarterback this game?
Good question. How good is the offensive line for the Steelers? That's play into it. If Kinlaw can just get some pressure, you don't have to get a sack. Just get pressure. If you can just put pressure on Stitz, what's his name? Stitz. Kinlaw, he got the strength to do it. He got to do it. He's got do what he did against the Chargers. He was looking good. He's getting some pressure. So hopefully he does good. I hope so. I pray so.
Is he quoting a rap song? Why isn't Bashar here right now?
I'm thinking if
Chief Rocka? That's what he's talking about, Chief Rocka.
What's your thought, David? Do you think that Kinlaw play on playing time?
If we have Nick Bosa and Hargrave right there and on the side, and Armstrong is right there, they could probably be blocking they be double team someone, Nick Bosa or the other guy, and then and Kinlaw could go in the middle and just stack the quarterback or rush the quarterback. That's why I could see.
So you think in rotation, Kinlaw will make some impact?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Mr. McNiner, what's your thoughts? Do we get any Kinlaw sightings? Are we going to be proud of Mook Dog out there this weekend?
Probably not. Yeah, he was getting pushed around by, the Raiders' second team. He had a few good plays here and there, but who was that against? Wasn't against the starters that he's going to be playing against. And Corona does make a good point. You get the other guy takes the double team, you get Kinlaw one-on-one. It really depends on the level of player he's going against on if he's going to be able to do anything. So that's his best bet, is getting him one-on-one. There is someone that thinks he's going to get 6+ sacks. I believe he might be in the chat. But I just don't see that happening. He hasn't made it through a full season yet. Miracles happen. Blind squirrel finds a nut every now and again. Maybe he'll make it. Maybe he'll be pretty good for us. It's his contract year. So it's put up or shut up. But he hasn't shown anything in his current state.
If he gets more than 3 sacks, that will be miraculous. I'm just being honest. Personally, I want to totally dismiss him. I can't because he's a specimen of a man, and he has had an off season. And I'm not gonna pin everything on what I saw in preseason, but I'm pretty sure it's a great forecasting or foreshadowing for what we're about to see this season. So buckle up. You got a whole nother season of why the hell is this guy on the team? The reason is they owe him money. So I just don't know why we got to have him out in the rotation. Like, just bring him in for like special team plays when you need an extra body. Big body.
So, hey, Corey, whose jersey do you have on? That's not Kinlaw. I know that's not Kinlaw.
It is. It's
Oh,
Kinlaw.
Justin Smith. Kinlaw?
Kinlaw.
Corey, why would you be wearing that?
I told, like I said
That's
before.
negligent. That's mother
No, I paid
negligent.
I paid good money for this. And
That
know
don't
what?
mean you got to wear it.
you know what? I didn't pay no money for this. I think I got this for free.
Okay.
If I'm not
Corey.
mistaken.
Corey, you should
If
make
I
a
can remember,
video.
I can't remember if I got it from Niner Signals or did I get it from a guy named David. What is his last name? I can't think.
If you got it from David Corona, it's probably just a dyed Cowboys jersey. So I would just end up burning it anyways.
No, I didn't give it no David them Niner. It's David something.
Was
and
it Corona?
He was no.
The Dallas Cowboys fan, right?
He was giving free jerseys away. If you advertise his thing on Facebook, and that's what I did. And he gave it to me.
See, you should have known. Why did he had a bunch of them? You know why? Because Kinlaw sucks. He got them all for free outside of Levi's Stadium in the dumpster, and then he just got you to publicize his stuff for trash.
Like I said, I don't burn none of my stuff. I don't throw my stuff away. I wear it.
I'm just messing with you, Corey.
Just like I got a what's our backup to Jimmy?
Nick Mullins.
Nick Mullins jersey. I got that for free. I still
I
got
was
it in my
about this
drawer
close
there.
to buying a Nick Mullins jersey. It was a nice one. It was like a military one. I think it had like a gold The gold number. It was on discount. I almost pulled the
It was
trigger. And then I was like, nah, I'll just wait a little bit longer. Good thing I
It was this
did.
guy.
Good thing I did.
It was this guy. He don't like talking about backups. So every time I kept on bringing up backups, asking about who you think will be. He said, Corey, since you like talking about backups and stuff, I'll give you a backup jersey. You can name any player backup jersey you can get. And I like, I'll take Nick Mullins. He said, okay, I'll give you Nick Mullins. Then he sent me a text. He said, Corey, I know you don't really have to take you can take a starter. You can pick anybody jersey. I'll get it for you. I said, nah. If I go by my word, if I say this, I do it. You know, I'm going by my word. And on y'all show, I'm gonna send a picture of it. Y'all can share it on y'all show.
Corey, I hope this isn't true. Steve writes in the chat. He said, everybody Corey wears gets traded. Don't do that. So I haven't seen Kinlaw get traded yet. But
Nope,
Do you
he's
got
still
Nick
here.
Bosa jersey? Do
Well,
you
I
got
think he
Nick
goes to
Bosa
the
jersey?
what Trey Lance
I got
go.
Nick
Don't wear that shit, Corey.
Bosa.
Tack
Hey, Corey, what
that
happened if
up
he
on a
goes?
wall.
What happened if he goes where Trey Lance goes?
To the Cowboys.
No,
Yeah.
don't say
Oh.
that. Don't say that.
Oh
I don't
my
want to hear that.
I still
Get in
have
the
him.
back
I
room and
still wear
start
him. He's
sweeping,
still
David Corona.
still my colors.
Jesus
Ready to
Christ.
go. It's not Raiders. I mean Dallas colors. I still got I just took off when I put this one on. I took off Trey Lance jersey. It's in the dirty clothes.
Yep.
And I'm not throwing Trey Lance jersey away. I'm not gonna burn it. I'm gonna still wear it. I spend good money for it. I don't waste my money. I'm not a Cowboy fan. I don't break
Yeah,
TVs.
David Corona.
I'm not a Cowboy fan either.
How many TVs
brought
did you have to
the
buy after last year's playoff game?
So I brought up the point to Tony. Well, not the point. I suggested it. I was kind of being funny, but I said, hey, should I go get a Trey Lance jersey now? And Lily and Tony both looked at me and was like, no. And I said, but they're going to be really cheap. And it's going to be a good jersey. You know, I mean, like they're probably going to be like 49% off or I don't know, like, 75% off or something. You can get a jersey for like $30. And, like he was on the team, I mean, and they're like, nope, don't waste your money right now. And I don't know if that'd be a waste of money, but I did know like last year when I went into the sporting goods store, they had a bunch of Trey Lance jerseys. And they are different colors, like what Ryan's saying, the camel colors, and they had different colors, and it was just like they're really pushing his jersey. It seemed like to me like the outside was saying Trey, but we weren't getting that from the team. So, all right. How pinnacle or how important is this kicking game going to be, John? With the kicker coming in, it's John at the bottom. We got John J, and then we got John at the bottom. So John on the bottom. We're gonna go ahead and go with you first, then we'll go to the next John, and let us know what your thoughts is. This kicker, he played in Pittsburgh. He's not in Pittsburgh anymore. He's with the Niners. So is he like our spy? Did we just hire him so we can get inside their special teams playbook?
Well, I do know that he's on the practice squad and that type of stuff. I know Jake Moody is day by day right now.
Correct.
So it depends on who's going to be doing kick one once it gets closer to being the game. And we could have a Jake Moody back at that. And the Steeler kicker, I don't know that much about him and that type of stuff, so I don't know. He's just basically a question mark to me.
Yeah, he
Well,
went
one
he
thing
went
I
like
can tell
40
you,
or 46. So he's not a
he
bad
didn't
kicker.
have
He
a
just
job before this week.
and that's what the question mark is. Why weren't you signed if you're that good, 40 out of 46, why aren't you on someone's team? The only thing I can
Right.
think of is if you cost them games. You either kick some balls out of bounds and they got it put on the 40 or the 40, for the penalty, or you lost some games. So
Or
John
or was he inconsistent about being able to be available, like with injuries? That's the only other thing I could think. Because if
yeah.
you're not costing games and you're kicking that accurately, then it's got to be something to do with you not being able to be there to kick when they needed. That to me, that's the only other thing. Because if you're accurate, I don't care if you're an alcoholic. You're a kicker. I just need you to kick that damn thing. You can go have a beer on the sideline. I really don't care. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, John Jay. Let me know what your thoughts are on this potential kicker from Pittsburgh filling in for Jake Moody, or your thoughts on Jake Moody's injury. Just your thoughts on this special teams. Did we bring this guy in to be a spy, or are we going to have to look for him long term?
Well, he went to the University of Central Florida. Not a lot of people follow college football. I do. I'm shocked that UCF players don't get the respect they deserve. So I want to say that first. I talked about him a little bit. I think was it yesterday on my channel, and I looked at his numbers and like his rookie year, he only played 3 games. I don't know why. Then in 2021, I think he played like 12 games, and then last year he only played 6 games with 2 different teams. So basically, the Chiefs and the Steelers have been the 2 teams that he's been playing for. So he's 27. Like for any other position that's that's old already, but for a kicker, great kickers in their 30s, they have great success. Now I don't know why he has not got a lot of opportunities. The only thing I can really think about is that maybe he's been a guy who's drafted and he's always been like stashed when other kickers get hurt. I haven't read any significant injuries. I haven't read any significant if he's missed, like a bunch of games because he's been perfect on extra points. In 2021, as I mentioned, he played 12 games and he missed 4 kicks, but all those other short stints, he's been perfect. So I don't know why he's not been signed on another team. That's a very good head scratcher. I don't have the answer to it, but I will say this, and has nothing to do with his ability. UCF players don't get the respect they deserve. I just want to point that out. And when it comes to Jake Moody, he's on the active roster, so I don't think the injury is very serious. But John Lynch, the last time he spoke, they're like, "Oh, it's just a precaution. It's just a precaution. We just want to have someone there just in case he can't kick." So I don't think it's a serious thing for Jake Moody. That's just what I feel.
Awesome. Real quick, he did play for the Jaguars. He was the one that he snapped the 20-game losing streak for the Jaguars against the Miami Dolphins. He did play for the Chiefs. He's also played for Pittsburgh. He's played for Tampa Bay Vipers. So I believe that's an arena football team. Pittsburgh Steelers, Detroit Lions, Jacksonville, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Carolina, and the Niners. So he's been around, and that's just really weird. You've been around so many different spots, and your stats are what they are. So it's got to be something about injury, or maybe it's personality. Mr. McNiner, what's your thoughts on our kicker situation? And are we going to need a kicker for the Pittsburgh game?
Well, my thoughts on the kicker situation is we have 3 kickers, so we have none. Number one.
Right.
When it comes down to it, I hope it doesn't come down to a kick. I was honestly thinking, we could win this game, but last second field goal style. But at this point, can we rely on the guy that's going to be kicking the last second field goal? Jake Moody, yeah, he looked shaky in preseason. He's a rookie. Yeah, it was his first time kicking in the NFL, and the coach of the Raiders actually called timeouts and it froze him. That's a little concerning, but hopefully he gets over that. But right now we got a guy I've personally never heard of at kicker. And so he's 40 for 46 though in his career, right?
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that's not that's not terrible. That's pretty good. But it's not great either. So at this point, I just hope we do not have to rely on the kicker to win the game. That's pretty much all I can say. And, at least it ain't Brett Maher.
And that's a good point. At least he's not him. The Cowboys kicker is now the Rams kicker. Okay, so he made 40 of 46. He's got 87% field goal percentage. His longest field goal was 59 yards. Not bad, but he's just been on a dozen football teams. How many teams again? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And you were drafted in 2019. You've been on 10 teams, and it's 2023, and you're drafted in 2019. So that's what, 5 years? That's a lot of teams. So, guys, Brian, what's your thoughts? Do you like this kicker? You love him? You hate him? He wore 16 before. He wore 19. Now he's wearing 4. And I don't know what he's suiting up for now. So that makes me a little nervous. All right. Corey, do you think he takes number 4? What number do you think he takes?
The kicker?
Yeah, he seemed to wear almost every number in the team.
Well, we got enough fours, so our team right now.
We got 2 4s right now.
Yeah, so he's gonna have to pick. He's gonna take Trey Lance number 5 because
oh boy,
he's gonna get. Oh boy.
Well, Brandon Allen's wore a couple different numbers in his career. So I don't know if he's actually set on 4 or if that's just what, when he got signed, he goes, I'll just take number 4. Because I'm QB4, so I'll take number 4. So maybe he'll take number 3.
Well, Ray's number 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then 2's taken. Maybe he'll be 5. Or is that too soon?
Nah, that's only the 3. 5.
He might take 5, huh?
Let me see. Anybody got number 12?
12's retired.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Good evening, Laura. Welcome to the stream. But at this point, I'm just hoping Jake Moody ends up with number 4. I know this guy is my good friend, and he happens to own a Jake Moody jersey.
Yes, the guy that's sitting next to me, he got a Jake Moody jersey. So would you go out? Oh, right, that's a good question. If Jake Moody changed his jersey, would you go get another jersey?
Oh man, I might have to hold my horses for that one. I might just have to wait to see if he actually makes the team, next year. And it's funny with the kickers and stuff like that. Kickers seem to change their numbers quite a bit. We had Mitch Wisnowski, who wore number 6. I think he wore 17. Now he's wearing 18. I believe he wore 17. Now we had Dave Akers. He wore 2, and I think he wore 4. Joe Neddy, he was wearing 9. Robbie Gould wore 9. Yeah, we got some kickers. Jose Cortez, he wore number 1, but when he came back to the team, I think he wore a different number.
He wore number 6, I think.
6, huh? Yeah,
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm cold.
He wore 1. He wore 1 time, and I think he wore 6 the next time, or it was 6 the first 1 2. But yeah, shout out to Jose Cortez, the kicker who wanted to tackle. All right, John, you got any questions for everybody or anybody on the panel? I mean, I know you're a big 49er fan, so what's your thoughts on the season and do you have any questions that you'd like to, present to the chat or
Well, the second person that has number 4 is Brandon Allen.
Yep.
So somebody's going to have to switch the number on week 1.
I think they should race for it. They should have like
Yeah.
the first run a 40-yard dash for it, So. All right, Mr. McNiner, what's your questions for the panel tonight?
Do you guys think Kyle Shanahan will win the Super Bowl this year? We'll start with you, Bryant.
I think we win the Super Bowl this year. I really do. I think there's like a method to the madness. There's a formula to getting there. I think they figured out the equation. They know how to get there. But I think the question and the answer is yes. Will he? And your question is he going to win the Super Bowl this year? I think so. I think he's going to put his ego to the side a little bit, or he'll put his whatever he needs to put to the side, because it was really weird how we were running the ball in the Super Bowl, and then we stop running the ball and we start losing. So if we ran the ball the whole season to get there, and that's what we were doing, why are we, dipping out of our element to be cute or something? Like, let's just play 49er football and win it the way we need to win it, grind it out. So I think we get there this year. And I think we host Lombardi. I really do. And I think it's going to be because CMC and Ayuk and Debo both hit 1,000 yards. I think all three of them. And Kittle's got to get really close to getting 1,000 yards. If we can have four 4,000-yard receivers or rushers or somewhere in that equation, I think we get there and we win. In my humble opinion.
Sweet. All right, Corey.
Okay, I knew you were gonna pick me next. I'm praying that we win the Super Bowl, that we can go this year. Let me just go to say this: let me go ahead and say we are gonna win. I'm gonna do like a Dallas Cowboy fan. We are gonna win. We're going to the Super Bowl, and we're winning it. Or I could say like David Corona. He would say that. So let me have the confidence of them, the Cowboys fans and David Corona. We're going to Super Bowl and we're gonna win it.
All right.
Even though
Ryan?
that's a rap fan too, huh?
Oh boy. All right, Ryan. Are we winning the Super Bowl this year?
I don't think so.
Oh, there he is.
I think we're it seems like on the offensive line we're one injury away from having like a black hole just sucking every defensive lineman in through and out into our quarterback. And then I don't know, our defensive line. Our second string guys are always beating up on guys every other year, whether you're winning games or not. That was not the case this year. We got pushed around by everybody for the most part. I'm not confident. And if we lose a quarterback, if we lose an offensive lineman, now we're down to Sam Darnold and Nick Sakelj or Pryor or Jalen Moore. Those are the first names up to bat, and none of them make me feel confident whatsoever. So I don't know. I want to win a Super Bowl, obviously, but I don't know if we're ready for that. Our quarterback, we don't even know if our quarterback can be the same quarterback as where we left off last year. I can't make an honest. I can't give you an honest answer right now without knowing. Like it takes us usually to like week 8 or 9 until we're like, oh hey, we're on something. We're on to something here. You know what I mean? And we know that we're locked in. Right now, we're heading towards a 3-5 start.
Oh man, I hope not. But John LaJoy, are we winning the Super Bowl this year?
It depends on who's going to be our QB and how many QBs we are going to be queuing up. Because I hope I ain't seeing it like last year.
That's a mic drop answer right there. All right, John Jay.
I really want to see a Super Bowl. I'm not gonna lie. And a lot of people who know me, like I don't make predictions because every time I do, the opposite happens. I'm not sure if I jinx the team.
So you don't know how to do things in reverse and just say Niners are going 0-17.
And I'm so glad you brought that up. I've tried the reverse and
they will never host the Lombardi Trophy. That's
so that's
say
why
a couple things.
I don't do predictions, but I do want to see a Super Bowl. Looking at the schedule, there are a lot of winnable games. Our conference is like not really good. I'm sorry, McDiner knows this. The Bears are not winning the conference. Quiet. So I want to put that out there. I think our only competition is the Eagles. Like I look at the North, a lot of teams have a lot of question marks. Our division, like the Seahawks, are going to be like our only top challenge. The South, no one knows who's to win that division. So I think the Eagles are only top competition, and with a healthy team, a healthy 100% team, the Niners can run the table, and they could make it back to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the NFL, nothing goes as course. So I do think that the Niners have a high possibility than any other NFC team to make the Super Bowl. So that's the best way for me to explain what the Niners are going to do this year.
Sweet.
So, hey, Niner, what you think?
Well, I think this is the year. It's do or die. And this is for Kyle. You've had this good team. You've had a good run over 6 years. And yeah, you had to build the team. So those first couple years are, but at this point, the Super Bowl window is wide open. And you need to win this one. And then I would like to see him win 2 with this team, honestly, at least. Yeah. So, and, the core is going to be around for a while. And we do what we do. We bargain shop. We find some players here and there that, low risk, high reward. It's just what we do. But at this point, it's do or die for Kyle. I mean, our ownership seems content with making the NFC Championship game. They need to know what it's like to hoist the Lombardi Trophy.
To get there and lose twice and be okay, and they say, "Oh, we're not okay," but they are. They're okay because they've been to the championship how many times? How many times, guys? We went to the championship against the Giants. We went to the championship. How many, David?
I'm just thinking about in their tenure. I think we been 5 times since the Orcs took over the championship game.
At least four.
Well, we went there in 2013, right? We went to the championship in 2013, 2014.
Wait, didn't we do Giants twice and then Seahawks and then we had
we didn't beat the Giants and go to the championship.
Okay.
So it was only once. We went to the championship game against the Falcons.
Okay.
Mhm.
So okay, real quick again, we had the 2012 championship Super Bowl. We had the 2013-14 loss to the Seahawks. We had the
20,
20
Harbaugh,
yeah,
20, 2011 when Harbaugh
2011 lost to the Giants, so that's
Yeah.
actually 3.
Harbaugh's first
Okay.
season.
There you go. So 11 and then 12, 13. So we went 3, right? Then we go to 2019. 2020 we had the COVID year and we didn't make it. 21, 22. So
That's 6.
That's 6. 6 times we've been to the championship under Jed York or
Mhm.
the York tenure.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Let's win it. Like let's not just get in it. I mean, like, I don't know, guys. I'm gonna still be a fan regardless if they win or they lose, but
Yeah.
it's really
Can I bring
good.
up the next question?
Yeah, buddy.
What is the timeline you give Kyle Shanahan from this point on to get number 6? And we're not talking about, like a NFC championship every 3 years keeps, the ticker going. We're talking about we want a Super Bowl. You've already had this many years to get online. Now, all of a sudden, in year 7, you've found the answer to your quarterback situation. If this quarterback situation doesn't go right and we don't get a Super Bowl, what is the timeline for Kyle? And also we've got like a 2-year window, right? This year and next year, supposedly, to really get things done. So where do you give him 2 years? Do you give him 4 years and have 2 of those years, be a shithole anyways, and then figure out he's not doing anything and we move off? Dave McKnight, let's start with you.
2 seasons. This team, what he has going on, the mess that the quarterback situation's been, trading picks, picking a guy 3rd, not developing him. I give him 2 seasons. And that would be it. It would be like, all right, Kyle, sorry, buddy, you couldn't get it done.
John, what's your thoughts?
So
Which job?
Sorry, John Jay. We'll get to you, Mr. Jolie, next. Is that how you say your last name?
LaJoy.
LaJoy. Sorry.
LaJoy.
Almost everybody messes up my life anyway.
I got one of those too.
I would say 2 to 3 years.
Okay. John Jay?
because we have another giant, you guys could just say JJ, easy. So I was looking at Kyle's contract for some reason. I'm not sure why. And I found out that he had
him.
that. So this year is 2023, and then in 2025, so he has 2 more seasons after his contract. In my personal opinion, if Kyle cannot get it done by the end of his contract, like personally for me, if I was the owner, I would fire him right now, but I am not the owner, so don't scream anybody who likes Kyle. If he cannot get it done this year, next year, or the year after, then that's it. That's it. We've seen this experiment. That would be, I think like 9 seasons. So if he can't get that done, then you got to go a different path, because the definition of insanity, it's Kyle Shanahan. I said that joke, just to be goofy, because you can't be doing the same thing every year. You can't be doing the same thing every year. The best coaches figure out a way how to win the Super Bowl. And Kyle Shanahan, if he wants to continue to do this year in, year out, it doesn't matter how good we are. It doesn't matter if we make it to the NFC Championship and lose, or make it to the Super Bowl and lose. Like, are you supposed to win a Super Bowl, or are you just supposed to get there and be okay? Because fans don't want to be remembered as the Super Bowl loser or the conference loser. So he better get it done by the time his contract ends, because if he can't do it, like, people have to stop making excuses for him. I'm just saying, because I've seen other coaches, and a good example, of course, we're not at the level of this. We're way better. The Lions had Jim Caldwell. He took the team to the playoffs 3 of his 4 seasons, and he got fired. For Lions fans, that's success. Having 4 seasons with Caldwell, and you go to the playoffs 3 times, So that's just my thoughts on this situation.
Okay. Bryant, let's go to you. Your thoughts.
I don't think we fire him. I think it's really hard to fire him. When you've been to 3 NFC Championship games in 4 years. I know we want to host Lombardies, but we've been in 18 games, 18 NFC Championship games, and we've been to 7 Super Bowls. We have the better record than anybody else. So Kyle could turn out to be the next Andy Reid. That's for sure. But if you let him go and you don't let him go this year and you wait 2 more years, then you're essentially rebuilding.
Remember, Andy Reid didn't win a Super Bowl until he got fired from the Eagles. And
did Andy Reid make it to 5 NFC championships and a Super Bowl? Yes.
But he didn't win anything. And it wasn't until later on.
He didn't win anything because his wide receiver had a broken leg. And they still kept the game very close. They didn't get blown out of the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying that they did. I'm just saying he was never able to eclipse that. And if he was as talented as he is now, he obviously would have probably made a little bit more trips. I know he's got talent on his team, but he had talent on his team back then too. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I'm just saying, look, sometimes it takes people a while. And should we be sitting here waiting for Kyle's 20th year in the league to when he finally gets it? I think he actually needs one of these humbling moments of getting his ass fired for him to pull his head out of his ass sometimes. I don't know if you were there last night, but we were on Niner Lounge, and I was in the chat, and they were who was it? Someone said, imagine. Oh, I think it was Bashar. He said, imagine Kyle Shanahan's head after he wins a Super Bowl. And I said, yeah, it would look like Daryl Strawberry from The Simpsons. You know what I mean? I don't know if you remember that, but he was addicted to cough syrup and his head swelled up. But yeah, Kyle, I think he needs something to ground him first. And I think getting fired for a situation like Trey, that might be what he needs to kind of open his eyes up, because he's too busy thinking his shit don't stink. And meanwhile, Andy Reid is over there letting guys draw up plays. He's letting guys draw up plays and letting them work it out in practice. And if it works, then he puts it in the playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what I was saying is I don't think we can fire him right now, regardless of what we've done in the past right now, if we're going to give the guy some time, because history has shown if you give a coach time, they can win a Super Bowl. If we decide to move off of him, then the question would be, when are we moving off of him? And then at that point, what are we doing with our roster? Because at that point, again, are we rebuilding? Are we, sending all these players off to, so we can get a bunch of draft picks, get some kind of capital out of them? At what time, when do we harvest this team and try to get something out of it? Because we're not going to be able to win with this crew in the next 1, 2, 3 seasons. Then I guess if you decide to let Kyle go, you do have to ultimately rebuild the team, because Kyle can keep the core together as long as he's here. and replace players as they come and go. Like possibly again, Juice is maybe not be on our team next year because we have maybe Coletto stepping into that position. We might end up getting rid of Debo or Ayuk depending on the contract next year. So I think if you remove Kyle, then the core that we have right now won't be able to be here. And even though they're getting older, like if we lose this year, I think Trent Williams is gone. I think if we win the Super Bowl, we might get one more season out of Trent Williams. He might think, oh, we can run it back. I don't think we can just get rid of Kyle right now.
Well, now think about it. If we don't win the Super Bowl, Trent Williams retires. Then you got to decide between Debo or Brandon Ayuk. I think it kind of makes for you could let Kyle go 1 year early from his contract. I think it makes a perfect exit because you're going to have to make tough decisions anyway as far as personnel. So why not, rip the Band-Aid off with Kyle and your offense, the offense might be changing under a new coach. You know what I mean? The scheme might change a bit. We might be passing more. Who knows? And that might make it so it's clear cut that they don't need Debo because they need somebody more like Brandon Ayuk. So that might cause changes to kind of help that changeover. You know what I mean? Because it's not necessarily replacing a player that has got the same attributes as the one that's going out. You could be looking out on the market for, all different types because Kyle Shanahan's system is used throughout the league. So they're looking for the same type of Debos, the same type of Christian McCaffreys. You know what I mean? They're looking for those guys because they work great in this type of system. So to not have to compete with the same teams for the same type of players, it could be handy there too. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just not in the mindset of letting Kyle go anytime soon. As long as we can keep getting to the championship, I want to win the Super Bowl. But I remember how long it was before we even got to the playoffs. There was 7 seasons we didn't get to the playoffs. So I don't want to do that. I think it's only a matter of time before we push through. We need maybe a key player. We signed the number one free agent this year in the draft, so not in the draft, but free agency this year. I think we're trying to push forward. So if it doesn't happen, then there's probably going to be an excuse for it. And it's got to be
that's the thing.
It's got to be something really on Kyle because you can't really blame injuries on Kyle. You can't.
You can, but Kyle always finds a way to get out of it. That's the thing. Kyle never accepts responsibility of anything major. So it's going to be hard when the media won't press him and he's not going to admit to anything. It's going to be hard for the Yorks to just, hold him accountable when that's not going to be what's out there as far as the idea of why things went awry. You know what I mean?
But again, there's only so much that you can really. We lost because the guy missed the block. Oh, well, did you draft that guy? Yeah, but he made all these blocks through the season. So didn't I do good? So 99 times I did good, but one time out of 100, the guy didn't block. So he got injured. So that's the coach's fault. I mean, there might be situations where you could blame it for.
So that situation, I can explain how it is kind of his fault. So Hassan Reddick had been not falling for the run the whole playoffs. He was told to just go straight after the quarterback. And if you go back and look at tape, you'll be able to see that. And Kyle, I'm guessing, saw that and was like, oh, well, he won't be able to do that with my run game. We'll get him. And sure enough, he just did what he was supposed to do and what he was told, and Brock Purdy got taken out of the game. So there is sometimes an explanation to how Kyle does have a hand in things.
But that's going back and looking at it afterwards. And maybe, yeah, you can look at play and see that throughout the playoffs they were doing that.
But he's
But-
supposed to
but-
notice
but,
that
you know,
before,
yeah.
man.
Give me a second. If he would have got that ball out just a little quicker, and his arm came down at the right angle, his arm would have got torn up. He would have just got hit. So it's all the combinations of how fast he got there and the block. If he would have stepped back maybe a couple of more steps or did what Kyle said and stepped up in the pocket, that play wouldn't have happened. So again, you know, you're deflecting blame, but you're not taking blame on yourself because it is a team.
So
Good,
I have
John.
I'm so sorry. I got a question. I'm listening to this conversation, and I'm not sure who said it, but as an NFL head coach, and anyone can answer this, what is the responsibility for a head coach? Just being the head coach, calling the plays? Does the head coach also have to understand his players? Like, what does the head coach have to do that if you want to put blame on a coach? Because yes, there are mistakes that players do that you have to acknowledge. But when, like, for example, the 49ers, since this regime, players have been getting hurt. Why has this been happening? Is it the players' fault? Is it the coaching staff? Is it the medical staff? But as a head coach, you know, seeing this, you know, shouldn't you figure out what's going on? Or we put all the blame on the players for their injuries, their bad plays. So can someone explain to me what Kyle should not be fault at when he sees for 6 seasons that his quarterback keeps getting hurt? And I don't know if he ever addressed that. Why are players get hurt? I don't know if he's ever addressed that. Or do we just put blame on somebody else? Because I'm a little bit confused because someone brought up that we can't blame Kyle for everything that happens, but as a head coach, you have to be still responsible for your 53 players out there.
Before we go there, because I haven't got my turn to say about David's question. I would put Kyle Shanahan right now. If I was the owner, I would put him on a short leash. I'll say, hey, I'll fire you. You're on the hot seat right now. So we don't go to the Super Bowl this season. We don't win the Super Bowl. I'm going elsewhere with this team. So his job will be on jeopardy right now with me. Because I do want to go to Super Bowl. He can take us to the Super Bowl. If we lose it, I'm going somewhere else with the team. Because I'm not going to make up any more excuse. Oh, this person got hurt. Oh, our quarterback got hurt. Oh, we missed a tackle. Oh, we dropped the interception. Something has to change. Our luck's got to have to change somewhere. So I'm ready for our luck to change. So if it's not Super Bowl, I'll be saying, bye-bye, Cal. See you
Say it the
later.
right way. Say it the right way, Corey. Bye, Felicia.
They say, hit the road, Jack. Don't come back no more, no more. Sorry about that.
Okay, that's all I got to say. Go ahead and answer John Jay's.
Well, that's a good point. And I probably was the one who said that you can't blame the coach for everything. Can you blame the coach for Tart dropping the ball?
No.
Can't. That's something, can you blame him for Jimmy throwing the ball to a linebacker? No. You can bench Jimmy after he does that, but you send him back out there and then he went and scored a touchdown.
You also are a coach and you have a quarterback's coach, and you know what I mean? Like, you need to delegate certain things. So if Jimmy is making bad decisions and throwing it to a linebacker constantly like that, right? You need to get with your quarterback's coach, figure out what his issue is, and have your quarterback's coach fix it, right? Now, if your quarterback coach can't fix it, then you need to be looking at moving on. You know what I mean?
But real quick, have we or have we not seen Jimmy throw an interception and then come back on the field and go down and score a touchdown?
Right. I got you. But also we've seen
at that point, it's like, you're getting the production and then
Right. So, like, saying goodbye to Jimmy and then bringing him back as a backup, like, you should have just ripped the Band-Aid off at that point in time. You had your chance to. Like, you just, like, there's decisions that he makes that he acts like he's got no other choice to make them, but yet in reality, like, you can do other things, Kyle. You just didn't want to. You know what I mean? Like, he makes it seem like there's no way he could have done anything like that. But the only thing stopping him is his own judgment, which we've seen is flawed at times. And he doesn't think it is because he doesn't hold himself accountable for, you know, what happens when he uses his logic. It's always somebody else. He can always look. It's like telling a manager they're doing something wrong. You know what I mean? The manager is going to use all their knowledge to turn around and tell the lowly employee that, no, they're wrong because, you know, this or this, even though it's not corporate policy, it's, you know, it's OSHA, you know, it's OSHA's standard. You know what I mean? And they'll find something, and that's what Kyle does. He's got the playbook. He designed it. So when something goes wrong, yeah, he should have stepped up in a 7-step drop. He should have stepped up in a 7-step. Well, why isn't it? Where's the hitch? Where's the hitch in the play, Kyle? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not. Obviously, the situation there with Brock was, you know, a situation. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily you can plan for that. But if you looked at what Hassan Reddick was doing, you would know that you couldn't have Croft in there. You needed to have somebody else, or Croft and somebody else. You know, you needed to do something because that wasn't, the little shimmy wasn't going to stop nobody. Wasn't going to get his attention. So
I know we can blame Cal for that game.
Oh, not throwing the instant replay. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Because that probably would have, if we had threw it, that probably changed the whole game.
And he had an excuse for that too. Remember? Well, I think we were going to need in our timeouts. Right. And what did he do in this preseason? There's something looked funky.
Twice.
He threw the flag.
Twice.
Yeah. He was saying, look, I heard you. Okay. So, but you don't hear us on the other things. You don't hear us on the Trey needs more reps. You don't hear us on everything because his judgment blocks that out, because he already knows Sam Darnold's the best option at number 2 and could be the best option at number 1. He feels, I'm guessing. You know what I mean? He doesn't know for certain, but I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's like, I've got 2 amazing quarterbacks. And I don't think he's right. I think he's got one good quarterback, hopefully, and then another guy who is a shadow of his former self. Talking about like his college years. That's his best time in his life, was slinging the ball in college.
And with these injuries, like what John was asking, can we blame? Something has to be done. Cal needs to be looking at that. What changes do I need to do to help? Who's sleeping? Is that your dog, Brian?
No. He's not in here tonight.
Need to find out why we having so much injuries. Why is all our players getting hurt? Why? And he needs to see how can he fix that.
Yeah, they do a lot of focus on next man up. That's like they're sweeping under the rug. Like their thoughts and prayers. Instead of, doing something about it, we're just, this is our thoughts and prayers. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like he's never accountable. So to me, it's like he builds his excuses into everything.
And see, I don't like that. Like, I think he does take accountability. He does say it. And I'm not just trying to, defend him, but I think he does. It's just it's the way he gives the answer. It's not the one that we want to hear. And he does shift blame sometimes, but it's for the right moments. And no, he's not going to tell us everything, the honest truth, because if he does, then everybody's going to know exactly what we're going to be doing. And that's not fair or smart for us to plan that way or just come out openly
Okay.
say it.
Real quick. So you remember when Grant asked him about Trey Lance getting his ankle snapped? You remember how he got really defensive? If you
Yeah.
notice, like when people ask good questions that are specific to a certain play, and they kind of back it up with some knowledge, especially like explaining what the defense was doing in the situation, he gets really defensive.
Yep.
And I think the reason why he gets really defensive is because they actually have a good point, and he's on his heels backpedaling, trying to come up with an excuse instead of just going, yeah, you might have a point there. You know, and just kind of being real with people. And then you could just say, but I'd have to go back and take a look at that on tape. You know what I mean? And then you don't say yes or no, but you explain how they could be right. You give him a little bit of credit, and he doesn't. He just gets defensive. He'll ask them, well, what do you think? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a coach. That's why I'm asking you the question. I'm trying to figure out what's in your head and why you decided to do this. And he doesn't want to tell you because he knows the answer makes him at fault.
I know.
I don't know if that's not, sorry, John. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think when somebody asks a question in a certain way, you know, a person can get defensive. I think he's gotten defensive a couple of times and has looked at somebody and said, well, if you're, you know, the problem solver, you can look at this and you can see my faults, and what's your answer to it? And I think when he flips it back on people, because he is a human, and he does get to a point where he does get, you know, peaked and irked by the constant, you know, ridicule by certain, you know, beat writers. Some of them give him, you know, really easy softball questions. Some of them don't. And I think when he goes into there, he's not going in there with the mentality that he's going to be eaten alive, or, you know, he has to justify his choices or what he did during the game. He's going to go up there and give him a little bit, but at the end of the day, there's adjustments that need to be made, and he can't tell you exactly what they are, because if he does, then the other team's going to be able to key off of it. Go ahead, John.
Sorry about that, didn't it? I remember when the season ended and a reporter asked him a question about the quarterback. Then he said, I got a follow-up. And he said, with all due respect, this is the quote. With all due respect, Kyle, when you see the quarterback this year, Trey got hurt, Jimmy got hurt, and then Brock got hurt. Like, and he asked a really good question, in my opinion. And he said, like, do you think there's something wrong, you know, with, you know, what's going on? And then Kyle, he didn't pause, he didn't think. He could have said a diplomatic answer or a polite answer. He went straight to, it's not my fault that Trey got hurt. It's not my fault Jimmy got hurt. It's not my fault Brock got hurt and our fourth quarterback got hurt. So, like, when you say an answer like that, you're probably already irritated. So the best thing that he could have done was, like, you know, try to be diplomatic, but he didn't. And you could tell the reporter was not, you know, having it after that question, and, you know, he walked out of the room. But, you know, go ahead.
So with that, you know, and I want you to answer first, but can anyone really tell me that Kyle got these guys hurt on purpose? Or is this just circumstances of football?
Just because you don't get them hurt on purpose doesn't mean that you don't have responsibility in the injury.
Yeah.
What do you think, John Jay?
Like, I don't think Kyle sets up any of his players to get hurt. Like, but again, it's football. But at the same time, when Trey Lance went down, and, you know, the history of Jimmy Garoppolo, like, at that point, you know, like when Trey went down early in the year and Jimmy returned, like, again, you know, this is just my opinion. I'm not trying to say this is what is the right thing to do. But after that, you have to realize, okay, I got Brock Purdy. You know, I got Brock Purdy. Hopefully Jimmy doesn't get hurt. And Jimmy got hurt. And a good coach would have figured out why this is happening. Because once Jimmy got hurt and Brock Purdy came in, you know, then you really need to start thinking, why does this happen to the 49ers? You go to 31 other teams, even the bad teams with bad quarterbacks, they get benched because of bad play. They don't get benched because they get hurt. So you got to scratch your head and realize, why does it happen to us, but it doesn't happen to nobody else? So like Kyle, after Trey got hurt, should have figured out, okay, I got to keep Jimmy healthy for the whole year and not just say, all right, if Jimmy goes down, we got Brock Purdy. Because when we were in the NFC Championship game and somehow Josh Johnson got hurt, and then you got to put Brock Purdy in with a broken elbow, you have to, figure out, ideas. So, because then, what happens if you would have won that game? That would have been very funny. But unfortunately, it happened what happened. I think the best thing Kyle should realize, once Trey went down, you guys say, all right, we got to figure out something in case, Jimmy goes down. And he didn't do that. But Brock Purdy lit up the league, and Kyle was very comfortable because the backup was Josh Johnson. So, that's just my opinion, what I would have done. I would have got a contingency plan after Trey got hurt. That's just my opinion and what I would have done.
I want to go to David McNiner next, and then John, and then David Cronin. But before, isn't it weird that 2 of the quarterbacks got hurt running outside the pocket, and 2 of them got hurt inside the pocket? Go ahead, David. What's your thoughts?
And
Can you blame Kyle for
believe
getting our
the rush.
quarterbacks?
Didn't the rushers come from the right side too? I mean, but at this point, Kyle Shanahan goes through a lot of quarterbacks. Look at his history. He has 1 year with a healthy QB, and at this point, he does need to figure out how to keep the quarterback healthy. And for some reason, I saw some 7-step drops when Brock Purdy was out there in the preseason. What's up with that? A 7-step drop gives the defensive edge a direct line to the quarterback. It doesn't have to go through our tackle. 5-step drop, the defensive lineman has to go through our tackle to get to him. So at this point, Kyle, being the offensive genius, needs to figure that out, because keeping our QB healthy is key to winning a Super Bowl. Am I wrong? But
you got a point. 7-step drop is just an angle. A 5-step drop, you got to do a move, and you got to be successful.
What do you think, John LaJoie?
One is the play draws. It's your O-line. 2, so if our quarterback gets past our O-line, it's fair game to get hurt. Anybody can get hurt in football. And if I was a O-lineman, because I was in high school, if I messed up, I got my butt yelled at. So if a quarterback's taking too far to drop back, then something's going to happen bad.
When I played quarterback as a 3rd-string quarterback, we took 7-step drops, but it was supposed to be 7 steps. Once your back foot hit the back, you're supposed to let that ball go. And it wasn't going to, you weren't supposed to stand back there and go through your reads. You're supposed to kind of know where the ball was going to go during that 7-step drop. So when your back foot did get back and you're already at the pinnacle, you're supposed to fire. David Corona, what's your thoughts? Is Kyle to blame for all the injuries?
Yeah, or no. Maybe he's calling the wrong plays and the player's at the wrong spot when the other team's hitting the player, and then they just get injured. Or wrong play call, and then the blockers don't block for the quarterback or whoever's getting the ball, and they get hurt. No. It's like a 50-50. That's what I think.
it's hard to put your thumb down on it. You could say, "Oh, well, you should have called a better play," but then shouldn't have the player executed it better? I've heard multiple reports where Kyle didn't tell Trey to run. Then I've heard reports that Kyle told Trey to run. Same thing with Jimmy. Jimmy wasn't told to run, and both of them go out and they break their foot almost the same way. Then both quarterbacks get hit in the pocket in the NFC Championship game, and it's just really weird. So for him to have his attitude that he has sometimes, it's not fun. And sure, we'd probably want to be a little bit calmer and cooler at the microphone, but I think some of these reporters are really trying to get him testy, to get him out of his comfort zone, where we would be maybe a little bit happier with his podium, report, his speech and his press conferences. If these guys weren't, I don't know, you don't poke the bear all the time, and if you already know what the answer is before you ask it, and the guy doesn't give you the response you're looking for, then I don't know.
Well, maybe you don't know the answer and you're trying to get more clarification, but you just asking the question gets them offended, and now they're going to ask you what you think, trying to put you on the spot and then like break down your decisions. And it's like, no, I'm the journalist. That's what I'm doing to you. And look, in other markets, Kyle would be eaten alive, and he doesn't understand how good he has it. So I don't know. If he was in New York, he would run from the media.
Yeah, true. Yeah, the New York media, like, it's cutthroat. Randy Johnson, when he went to the Yankees, he was walking on the street, and there was paparazzi and a reporter, and he basically like just like, oh my gosh, he took a camera. This is before social media, and it was a huge big thing. So like, and I'm not saying out here, here in the Bay Area, we're very relaxed, but compared to Chicago and New York, like if he was coaching those teams, it's cutthroat, because that's just how the New York media is.
Yeah. And the Grant Cohn gets his journalism from his father, right? Where's his father from?
New York.
He's from New York. So that's why, you know what I mean? Like, that's why Grant is the way he is. And that's why Kyle can't stand him. Sorry, Gord, go ahead.
Okay, yeah. What was this think about before? Yeah, to blame the coaches for the injuries. Only thing I can say, I blame the coaches for the injury if nothing's been done to fix it. If the injuries keep on happening, just like I don't know I can't remember which one of us said about this not happening to the other 31 teams not going through all these injuries like this.
Right.
You have to ask that question. Why are the 49ers going through this? What is we doing wrong? And as a head coach, and that's what you should be doing. You should be looking at that and say, what am I doing wrong? What is we doing wrong? Why is these players get hurt?
But we got to look at this team too, and the history of the 49ers. It's not just Kyle Shanahan who has a problem keeping quarterbacks healthy. Bill Walsh did. George Seifert did. Steve Mariucci did. Dennis Eckerson did. Mike Nolan did.
Kyle has a problem keeping all players healthy.
But just with the 49ers itself, like, we've been an organization for 78 years or something close to that. And we've had one season of 24 seasons of a starting quarterback, one starting quarterback. And I think now we're at to 27 years of one season of a quarterback starting.
So how many of those years were before
We've had
the rule changes?
Ryan, out of 42 seasons, we've had multiple quarterbacks. We've had 4 quarterbacks.
Right.
This
is my question. Okay, we say Bill Walsh, but how many seasons did Joe Montana play without getting injured? How many Steve Young played without getting injured?
That's what I'm
How
saying.
many,
Before the rule
you know,
change, like
for the rule
Okay,
change.
so Corey, that's what I'm saying. Since the organization started in 1946 till now, we've only had 24 seasons of a healthy quarterback.
right, and
What
I'm
about
asking
the
from the rule changes when
But
they
the-
started favoring the quarterbacks, how many have we had since then? Because other people haven't had as
easy.
bad with quarterbacks, but
that's
then
easy.
we have.
That's easy. Look at Alex Smith. Look how many times we had different quarterbacks in during his tenure. Then we move up to Kaepernick. He replaced him because of the injury. Then we move up. How many more quarterbacks did we have? Blaine Gabbert, Kaepernick. We keep going up. Brian Hoyer, CJ Beathard. Sure, now we're into Kyle's regime, but we still had multiple quarterbacks in those other seasons that got hurt. Cody Pickett. We had Trent Dilfer. There was one year we had 4 quarterbacks during Trent Dilfer's season, the 2007 season, I believe it was. So
Right, but what about every other position on the team that gets injured also? Because it's not just quarterbacks. That's what I brought up earlier.
Quarterback's going to be the player that gets hit more than any other player on the field.
That's not true.
Okay.
the running backs.
Okay, running back doesn't get the ball every play.
He gets
Tight end.
Yeah, but a quarterback doesn't get hit by the defense every time he drops back.
Sometimes he gets hit,
And the 49ers run more than we pass.
Since
So
when?
the running backs would have more attempts to get hit than the quarterback does.
The quarterback gets the ball in his hand almost every play. Quarterback is expected to get hit more than any other player. The kicker
That's
doesn't
not
get the ball.
true. The offensive linemen get hit every play.
Yep.
Defensive linemen get hit every play. Linebackers hit somebody every play.
And then running backs.
Okay, hitting somebody and getting hit's a little
Wait,
different.
why is the career expectancy for running backs so short?
That's what I was about to say.
Mhm.
Because they get hit on the ankles.
No, because most running backs who are bell cows carry the ball about 300 times. They average about 4.5 to 5 yards per carry, and when you're running through the tackles, you're getting hit 300 times a season.
Damn.
So
Well,
that's
even
why.
more so because you're getting hit by one player, another player. You might get hit.
I would say it
multiple
also
times
has
in
to
one run.
depend on how you run the ball. Because if you run the ball and you lead with your helmet, you're going to have a lot of more helmet-to-helmet collisions where it's going to cause you more helmet and head injuries. You look at Frank Gore. Why did he last the way he did? He didn't lead with his helmet.
Well,
He
they
got
took
down.
they
He
took
got
the
down.
role. They took the role of the helmet. You can't do that in the 2010-2011 season. They said you cannot do that no more. So what running backs do now is they lead with their shoulder, but then you're also like getting hit with a helmet on your shoulder, so that's also painful. So yeah, and you can still hit someone in your head when you're down the field away from the tacklers. That's why the league has become as more safer as possible. But running backs still carry the ball about 300 times per season, and they get hit a lot.
And it's the hits to the legs that really shortens their careers because that's what slows them down, which makes them not as effective, which makes them start moving down on depth charts.
Okay, so would you say it's better to get hit when you're running the ball, or would you say it's better to get hit when you're standing in a pocket?
It all depends.
When a quarterback's standing there in the pocket and getting hit, and
It all
he's just
depends.
out of the blue gets hit, but then a running back has the ball, he knows he's going to get hit, so he's nice and tight. He knows he's going to have to take that punishment. So yeah, it does. It all depends because we've seen it with wide receivers too, but it's just really weird. In San Francisco, it doesn't matter who the coach is, who the owner is. We have a hard time keeping quarterbacks healthy.
If you're going 25 miles an hour and you stop suddenly, that is not a good collision to be in. That's something like a running back could get into, right? Now, if you're standing still and you get hit by somebody, let's say going 15 miles an hour, that's not necessarily a good collision to get into, but it's better than going 22 miles an hour, or let's say 20 miles an hour and just into a sudden stop. Now, the thing where it becomes even more dangerous is if you fall back and your head bounces. So like there's different scenarios.
I think we've all come to the understanding, and I think we can all agree that we can't blame Kyle for the injuries. we can say you should have done something different, but we can't say before the injury happens that he should have done anything different because we don't know that the injury is going to occur.
That's not what I'm saying.
You don't have to say it, but I think that's where we all got because we can't say we
I'm-
can't look at the future. We can't.
If I'm not saying that, then that's not what we're all saying.
Okay, so you're going to blame Kyle for the injuries.
I'm going to blame Kyle for injuries. Yes, I think
Okay.
he's the coach, and I think he is the one in charge of the players. And whether he understands what's going on, it's his duty to find out and do the most he can to stop it from happening. That's his responsibility.
And that's that. Okay, I don't see how he can control all the intangibles that's going to happen on the football field. You can't.
Not on the intangibles, but we've in the weight room, a guy. What did he rupture just standing up? I can't remember. Somebody ruptured something just standing up right after they got out of the weight room.
Running back.
Yeah.
He's now with the Jets. No, is he? Who he's with? Miami.
Oh,
I
I know you're talking about. We just traded him last year after we got.
Oh, you talking about
McCaffrey.
Jeff Wilson? When
Jeff,
he
Jeff
was-
Wilson Jr.
and then he somehow tore his meniscus.
Yeah.
That was weird.
That's Kyle's fault because Kyle didn't tell him how to stand up, right?
No, but there could be something having to do with his training regiment and other people's training regiment that is causing them to be unhealthy before they walk out on the field, causing said injuries. And without changing people around until you get it right and figure out what the problem was by finding the solution, whether you knew it was a solution or not, that is all your responsibility. It's like Trey's throwing motion.
Well,
Here, go to this guy.
that's a
That
good
didn't
point.
fix it. Okay, go back to this guy.
That's a good point, but you know these players train on their own. They go to other players and coaches and get
It's not
information.
happening outside the building, Kyle
No.
or Bryant.
But hear me out. Bosa's training on his own, right? And he's not getting all torn up. He's not having all these injuries. So it's happening inside the organization. These other players,
He lost a year for injury.
yeah, because of why? A football field. He tore his knee up on a football field, the Jet Stadium.
Right?
That's Kyle's fault.
Maybe with the shoes.
I say 50-50.
Should wear now. I mean, like, so. I mean, like, you know, what I mean, like Jerry Rice took his pads off and stuff off so many times. He didn't like how it was. Will Washington.
Did you know that they changed their shoes the next week because their shoes the previous week had too much grip, and the players were complaining about it and were scared, and so they went and changed the shoes out for the next game the next week on the same field?
I know we got injured against the Giants and the Jets both weeks. So regardless if they changed their shoes, they still got.
But we had 2 ACL ruptures almost back to back. There was one play in between them.
Jimmy got his leg messed up. It wasn't an ACL, and then Bosa had an ACL. So who was the other guy?
It was
Solomon
Solomon Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
So that was our 3 guys. Okay. It's just really weird it happened on the same field.
I'm not saying that it's not the field, but you see how the serious injuries went down when they changed the shoes.
Also, I'm sorry. Also, the week before, I remember that was the 2020 season when nobody was there. The Steelers, after the game, were complaining to the NFL because the 2 of their receivers messed up their ankles. Luckily, it wasn't season ending. So if you're the 49ers and you're hearing this report, there's like, maybe we should go a little bit earlier and check out the field, in MetLife, because the Steelers and then also the Giants and Jets were also complaining about their own field leading up to the week 2 matchup. So just wanted to point that out.
I say it's 50-50. Both on the field and both on the coach.
Well, let's just point out the fact that they did replace the field. So let's just say that the field was definitely a part of the situation, okay? We can vary on how much it was, but let's just put out there and say the field was definitely part of the situation.
Yeah.
What up, Bashar? Jump on, homie.
So,
I just can't get behind it. It's like it just is one of those things. You know, you walk outside, you don't know if a bird's gonna fly by and drop on you.
You don't
And
have to, Brian.
no, I don't. And that's the whole thing is I'm not gonna fire him because someone got hurt. I can and I will be upset, but at the end of the day, he does have so many people that are in place to do certain things. So he does have a training staff. Somebody should walk by Jeff Wilson Jr. and said, "Hey, dude, maybe you shouldn't squat like that. Maybe you should stretch a little bit better." Somebody should have been there. But at the end of the day, these guys are young men, right? We want to consider them young men. So we don't want to, over coach them. We want them to be coached right. And we want to be respectful too, right? So you're not going to be telling them to do everything. Okay, when you're doing a push-up, make sure you go all the way down. There's only so many coaching players, staff members, and they can't be over everybody every second that they're breathing or doing anything. Injuries. I got hit. I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I got hit. I think it's on this side of the head. I got hit. Just a second. In my own house by a shelf because I turned the wrong way. Injuries happen. So is that my wife's fault because I got hit in the head? No. She decided to put the shelf there, but still, it's no one's fault, right? It's.
I think they train in small groups, and I do know that there's times where they spend special attention to make sure that the athlete has the right technique down. So whether they're doing the right exercise, whether they're doing the right exercise or not, I know that there's time spent making sure that they're doing it right. Is there somebody watching them every time they do a rep? No, obviously no. But I know that there's, like if at some point someone is going to look over at them doing something and see and see if they need to critique them. You know what I mean? So they might do a couple wrong, but then somebody's going to go because that's what they're there for. Essentially, they're going to. You need to tuck it in. Your arms are, your elbows are coming back. You need to keep them in line with your chest because you're not getting the right workout. There's all that type of stuff. So I've seen that in videos too, with them working in the weight room and having this type of attention with the staff. I'm just saying, like, when it comes to a business, you know what I mean? Who's accountable? It's the person in charge of that department. Who's accountable after that? The person in charge of that, the person who's in charge of that department. When it becomes a big issue, it's all the way up the chain. So I used to work at the Golden Corral. I'm sure I've shared this with you guys. So we had the men's restroom had one toilet and one urinal, right? So, and we were packed. We could make $13,000 in an hour. Okay. You're talking about $13 a head. Do the math. So we could pack everybody in this place. We could only hold 279 people, something like that. Anyway, so if somebody was on the toilet and somebody had to go number two, there's times people would just use the urinal, right? So one night, Mike comes in and says, "Hey," tells the dishwasher, "I need you to go clean the bathroom. There's poop in there, right?" So he goes in there and cleans it up. A little bit later, Mike comes back and I see him grabbing the stuff. I said, what are you doing, Mike? He says, "I got to go clean the poop out of the bathroom." And I said, "Well, why didn't you send the dishwasher to do that?" And he says, "Because if I send a dishwasher to do it again, I'm sure I'm going to have to hire another guy." In other words, this guy's not going to touch shit twice in a night for me. So I'm going to go handle the business because I'm the boss. You know what I mean? Like, and instead of losing an employee, I'd rather touch shit. That's essentially what it's like. And Kyle doesn't have that. Kyle's like, "Man, I wish we could figure out why that is." There's no, like, I got to get to the bottom of this now because this is my revenue in source. This is my income stream. This is, my livelihood. Even though it is his livelihood, I don't think he looks at some of these things as if there's something he has control over when he does. We've had, like, when we talk about injuries, we've had some of the highest injury rates of any team as far as all positions in the last couple of years.
All right, guys. Before we lose any more in the chat from the restroom, mishaps, it's a good point, Ryan. I don't think at this point of time, and everybody's final thoughts, whether you like Kyle or you don't like Kyle, I think there's many other teams. There's 31 other teams out there that would be more than happy to have Kyle. Maybe 30 teams, we'll say, or maybe 29. You can throw a couple numbers out there and argue that, but I don't think we're better without Kyle at this time, and I don't think we're going to stop our injuries if we change head coaches. So let me give it to Corey. Let me go around. David, you can start it out. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't think I'm not necessarily blaming it all on Kyle. Football is a violent sport, but he can do things to minimize the risk to his QB, like the whole 7-step drop versus 5-step drop. He's supposed to be an offensive genius. I'm sure he sees this stuff. I would love to see these adjustments made.
We don't have the
just
personnel
minimize
for a
the risk
7-step
to
drop.
our QB. That's all you can do, right?
I agree. We can make different changes. If we don't have the personnel, like Ryan's saying, a 7-step drop maybe isn't the best idea. Maybe go ahead and do, like you said, get them out in 5, drop back 5 and let it go.
Steve-O's comment.
Steve-O's funny. All right. So Corey, what's your thoughts? And we'll go to John LaJoy and John J, David Corona. We'll give it to Ryan last, and we're going to go ahead and get out of here.
Okay. What's my thought?
Your final thoughts of the evening. If you want to say something about Kyle, or you want to say something about the game, anything you want to talk about.
Okay. Now we can't blame it all on Kyle, but we can blame. I wouldn't fire Kyle for the injuries. I'll fire Kyle for the mistakes he was making. And does not. Yes, we cannot fire him for the drop interception. No, that's not his fault. But I could fire him for not throwing that red flag. When you get six timeout flags. You get 6 of them. 3 in the first quarter and 3 in the second quarter. So he should have took the risk of challenging that play.
F those timeouts. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
And for the game not the Sunday, but Sunday the 10th, I'm sure hoping we win. And on Saturday the 9th, I'm doing an interview with a Steelers fan. And we're going to talk about that game.
Awesome. John LaJoy, what's your thoughts? What's your final thoughts of the evening?
Well, if we're going to blame Kyle, we need to blame everybody on the quarterback coaching staff and then the players. That's the way I would think, because that's the way basically when my football coach ran the game, if one got screwed up, we all screwed up. So if we're coming to injuries, it's the way that football is designed, for one. And if somebody's going to get hurt for making like a sliding or getting ripped down, that is going to be just the way of football life.
I like it. Okay. Mr. John Jay, what's your thoughts? And then we'll go to David Cronin and we'll finish with Ryan.
So this is how I look at this situation. I don't want Kyle fired after this season if everything, implodes. So even if in the worst case scenario, like I said before, his contract, I will let it expire and see if we can get over the hump. I do think that Kyle is probably 50-50, not 100%, but there's some things that, he's done that, he should take more responsibilities. And 50%, goes to his coaching staff and the trainers and the players. So I'm not saying that Kyle is entirely everything that's been happening is his fault. But, he does have to be accountable for the things that, he messes up with. Overall, when it comes to the players getting hurt, again, also we got to also put the players blame. But at the end of the day, like No Borders brought up a perfect. If the Niners were a small business like a little mom and pop shop where people go in there, they enjoy their time, they watch the game, and then leave. And if something happens in that, small business, if if a person gets in there and they're watching, they get hurt or whatever, like the mom and pop shop has to take responsibility. Someone has to put some accountability. I'm not saying everything should be on Kyle's fault. You also look at the entire organization as a whole. Why is this happening to us? So at the end of the day, I just want someone who can be accountable for what's been happening the past, the past this, time Kyle's been, the head coach. Because at the end of the day, like, you cannot hold everything unchecked because that's when bad things happen. So at the end of the day, that's just how I feel about this conversation in general.
All right, we're going to go to David Corona. David McNiner, I know you probably have some final thoughts as well, and then we'll go to Ryan. So, David Corona, what's your thoughts, buddy?
You know what? I give Kyle Shanahan like 2 more years. If he doesn't do the job like we want it and win that Super Bowl, and he might be out the door in the next 2 years. But if he does win the Super Bowl, maybe I don't know, maybe another year he goes. And about the players getting injured, I think it's like bad calling or bad plays, and then they're in the wrong spot at the wrong time, and they're getting injured. So, like the other guy said, John, like if everybody's getting hurt, it'd be the whole team's getting hurt. So that's how I see it.
All right, McNiner, go ahead and give us your thoughts, and we'll give Ryan his final thoughts. And appreciate everybody for coming. It's been a really good show.
Well, like I said before, football is a violent sport. Injuries happen. The players know what they signed up for when they're getting on the field. But it is definitely, there are things you can do to minimize the risk to your players. Coach them up. Teach them how to fall. Teach them how to tackle. Call the right plays to minimize the risk to your quarterback. There's, some things that can be done. Will it work? We don't know. We don't know. All we can do is hope that we're not going through 4 quarterbacks this year.
Yeah.
And, when it comes to Kyle, no, I'm not going to. I'm the whole not throwing the red flag, early in the Eagles game. That was a big swing right there.
Yeah.
So hopefully he learned his lesson. He did have some time management issues, leading up to this, which in the preseason, it actually looked like he was working on that. And hopefully he has that all ironed out. So beyond that, it's let's go 49ers and F the Lambs.
Ryan, what do you think? What's your thoughts, Maddie?
Well, I was just thinking maybe the lack of cold tubs might have been a thing about injuries, and that could have been a thing, if Kyle, it was mentioned to Kyle, hey, we need more cold tubs, and he didn't put a priority on it. That could be a thing. You know what I mean? It's hard to to know that you need cold tubs if nobody's telling you need more cold tubs. So, but we'll see. Who knows? Maybe we'll see this year with our minus rest days, our rest day deficit, if we can stay healthy. Maybe the ice tubs, if they got them, because I heard something, maybe they'd swapped out some old offices or something, and we're making some ice tub rooms. But maybe we get a difference in injuries from that this year. We haven't really. I think we've kind of preseason was kind of like light as far as injuries go normally for us.
Yeah.
We didn't have really a lot of season-ending injuries because we usually have, like 3, maybe 4 guys, and they're not necessarily the top names, but we got guys that usually go down. And I don't think that happened much this year. Did we have anybody go out for the season? I think
Zane Gonzalez,
okay.
that's going to hurt us.
Yeah, detrimental. But yeah, there's just stuff like that. Man, I hope we can pull out a win against the Steelers, and I hope we sign Bosa. And other than that, well, I appreciate everybody for tuning in to both streams and listening to my Golden Corral dirty talk.
Yeah, so check it out with the show moving forward. We're going to try to come out with a new schedule. Ryan's going to be helping with that. Everybody will be turning in their notifications and rotating. Like today, it's kind of neat. You see me and Corey. Maybe next time you'll see David and Joe. Maybe next time it'll be Ryan, and maybe we'll get Bashar in here, or we'll figure out the rotation. But it's going to be like 2 hours on one guy's channel, and then we're going to try to do like a raid and come into the next channel. So if we need to, change the mood up a little bit, put on our hats and our glasses, drop our water bottles and stuff, then that's what we're going to do. But thank you all for coming. Please like and subscribe, and turn your notifications on, because every one of us do really great things. And we're all 49er fans, and we want the best for the team. So with that, I'm going to say it. Stay faithful. Everyone else, go ahead and go around the table. Corey?
Go 49ers and F all other teams.
All right.
Thanks for watching. Go Niners.
All right, guys.
Yep, like always, go Niners and F those Rams.
That's
Thank you.
right.
Thank you,
Go
James.
Niners and F those Lambs.
Hell yeah, you know how we do it.
Stole David
McNiner.
McNiner's line before you can even say it.
We're going to get better at this.
The class. The class.
Sometimes we had some practice or something, but I appreciate you guys. And if you find us funny, we hope you guys come back next time. And then again,
Looks aren't
thank
everything.
you.
All right, Brian, thank you for having me, and I'll see you guys next time. Everyone, you guys have a good night. Go Niners. All right, peace. All right, later.